Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Why Are You an Entrepreneur? The Trials and Triumphs. I'm Maureen Edwards with 8 Simple Steps. And for those of you just tuning in for the first time, this is where I bring you rock star entrepreneurs on a monthly basis. You know, we used to do this weekly, but now it's even more special because our guests are some of the best, bringing you words of wisdom, best practices. They are some of the hottest entrepreneurs who are moving, shaking, making things happen. And if you are one of those entrepreneurs out there who's looking for inspiration and are on that journey, this is the place to be. And tonight is no exception. I have Kellee Williams, and oh my gosh, this is about faith, fun, family, and I think we're in for an amazing conversation. She is the founder of Just Kellee Coaching. And Kellee, I have to welcome you. I'm so excited, especially with some of the information I just found out. So welcome. I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation. I think it's going to be really fun.
Well, let's dive in. We've got 30 minutes, and I always start out with, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It's actually so hard. So why are you doing it?
Oh, and I sometimes ask myself the same question. Why am I an entrepreneur? I'm an entrepreneur because I believe I was born to be one. It's something I've done ever since I was 8 years old. I've got memories of crochet bracelets, trying to, I'm going to say, peddle them. And it's in my DNA. And I'm an entrepreneur because it helps provide the best life for me.
Awesome. Now, were you ever in a corporate arena at all and then transitioned out of it?
Yeah, so when I was 19 years old, I started working for my local county government and I stayed with them until just a few years ago. And so I had always been an entrepreneur, even while I had a 9 to 5. So I got to juggle what it was like, getting up in the morning and going to work, excited to be at work, but also excited about this thing that I wanted to either venture into or explore or take a stab at. And I've experienced putting the children to bed and the long nights, working on business. So yes, I was in the government arena until I stepped away from there.
And so how did you transition out of that and take the leap and say, you know what, I'm out of the government, I'm going to go full force and run my own business? How did that come about?
So I've actually been entertaining the idea of leaving, but kind of just comfortable with the security of not so much the paycheck, believe it or not. It was the benefits, the medical and that sort of thing. And one day an opportunity presented itself in 2021. And I told my husband, I was like, I think it's time. And he was like, I've been waiting for you to say that. In addition to our coaching business, we have a couple other businesses. So it happened very abruptly. There was no real planning in the traditional sense. The only planning I did for my business was work on my business consistently for many years prior. And so I had some systems in place. Things did change and shift after I walked away, but I had that consistency. I had already been building business online. And so it just allowed me the time freedom to do it in a way that best served our family with my business and my clients in my business.
What business you started that you said, all right, I'm going full force into this? What was the business that you started?
Well, it wasn't the business. It wasn't that I started it. It's my coaching business. And I had been coaching. I've been coaching for a very long time. Actually, I was coaching before they called it coaching. I was coaching when they still called it consulting.
Okay.
I know there's still such a thing, but that actually started in 2012. I had opened up a brick and mortar store, and people wanted to know, how do you do this? And you got a family, and you're involved in ministry at your church, like heavily involved. Like, how do you juggle all these things? And so I found myself back then telling people just what I did and sharing my experience, not really realizing that I was coaching them and encouraging them and helping them with tools and strategies to then go out and do the same thing.
So, what have you found to be the most difficult thing about entrepreneurship, especially for those people who just have started going and doing it? What did you find to be the hardest thing?
Woo wee. So your viewers are getting ready to get a taste of reality. But for me, the hardest part of entrepreneurship is suffering through the process. The actual journey can be quite difficult. And not that it's not rewarding, that's not what I'm saying, but there's lots of things that as an entrepreneur you face, you're challenged with, you have to overcome, you have to press through, you have to navigate, you have to learn, you have to fail and rise again. And that journey, sometimes you get tired, and you even have moments at times. And I'm going to speak for myself, but I do know that there's others that feel similarly. But I'm going to speak for myself. There's times where you're like, is this really worth it? And that's not a typical answer that you hear from somebody in the entrepreneur space, to especially online. Online, they have you thinking that everything is roses and sunshine every single day, and it's not like that. So when you had your 9 to 5, I'm just going to call it 9 to 5. You had them taking care of all the back end everything. They took care of payroll. They took care of all the ins and outs that go with business and employment. Then when you venture out on your own, now you're faced with, you've got to pay your taxes, you've got to set aside, do forecasting, and create your schedule now versus having somebody else create your schedule. And I'm going to say that for some people, not for everybody, but for some people, that takes some getting used to. You
Mm-hmm.
do your whole career knowing that, okay, I've got to be at work at 9 and I get off at 5, and now you've got what appears to be flexibility, and you realize, oh, I need boundaries, and
Yeah.
I need like a real schedule for myself. I need to make sure that my communication is effective with the people that live in my home, my spouse, the stakeholders in my business. I need to make sure that I'm communicating how business is supposed to be run. And that was a little challenging in the beginning. And I have to tell you, as long as I've been in business, I'm still ironing that out as I develop. I'm always developing and learning what that looks like for myself in this season.
Could you give, people out there who maybe are struggling, do you have maybe some tips for those people out there who maybe are like, whoa, I did not expect this at all? Because I think that's very important what you're saying, because freedom and flexibility are like the number one thing I hear people like. I'm owning my own business. I want to be my own boss. I don't want anybody telling me what I want to do. But then when they're sitting there in their office, the day flies and they haven't gotten much done, or they've been overwhelmed. Or what tips do you have for people to kind of rein in and keep themselves focused?
Yeah. And the tips I'm going to give are the tips that I wish I would have been much more intentional about. So the first one is the boundary. So almost all the things that I've already mentioned, but the boundaries is the first one. Setting up my personal boundaries that allow for me to have downtime and address my personal care needs. Boundaries around the other things in my life. I do serve in ministry quite heavily. And so setting aside time for my faith, setting aside time for my family, and creating those business hours. I'm the coach that, oh, call me anytime. And when I ventured out on my own, after leaving the corporate world, like, call me in the evenings didn't fly anymore. I'm available during the day now. Let's talk during the day. And I had to learn how to communicate that effectively. So the first thing I would recommend is that you identify the boundaries that you would like in your business. The second thing I would strongly encourage someone to do as they venture out into entrepreneurship on their own is to get the support. And so the support is going to look like creating a power team for yourself. Your power team might be that one or two family member or close friend that's your cheerleader to support you. They might not be your customer, they might not be your client, but they're definitely a cheerleader, and they might even be a connector because they really, really want to cheer you on. So you want to make sure you have somebody like that in your corner because it can get lonely in
Yes.
entrepreneurship. You want to make sure that you got your business team. So all of the professionals that you would have in your business. You want to make sure you have your coach, your mentor. You want to make sure that you have your tax person, have those types of things set up as well on your power team. Then, so I'm a person of faith. I also recommend that you find who I would call wise counsel. This person might not be in business. And I know you see this online. They're like, don't talk to people about your business who aren't in business. They don't know, they can't help you. And I argue that I challenge that. There are some people that they may not know about business, but they're wise with how to make decisions. They're wise with what making your next move looks like. They don't necessarily need to know what the move is, but they can help guide you on making those right decisions. So boundaries would be the first thing. The second thing would be getting that power team together. And then the third thing would be to stay connected to your why and your purpose. Because when you do that, you can eliminate a lot of the struggles that can come with entrepreneurship. I wish I would have done that early on, especially when I left my 9 to 5. I found myself really looking more to, I had a coach. Okay. I had mentors around me, but I found myself looking online for what to do next and how to do a strategy for this and how to do the next thing for that. And I found myself becoming very, very confused. And
Right.
it felt like I stepped away from why I was really doing what I was doing. And I know someone might say, no, you're just, Googling this. X, Y, and Z. I'm Googling that online, or I'm, looking this up on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. But it's very easy for you to see somebody else's vision based off of what they put online, and you lose sight of your own vision. And so I found myself having to go back to that place several times, like often having a self check, like, okay, why are you doing this? What is the most important thing? And so I even shared I have a community of women, and we meet regularly. And I even shared it in the community, I want to say it was last week. I said to them that more than anything, and this is part of my why, but more than anything, I want for them to far surpass any achievement I ever make in business. They're all in business doing their own thing. But my why is so that I can help create purposeful and kingdom-driven entrepreneurs here on earth. Help them live in purpose and live on purpose. And if I'm doing that, then I'm doing my job. And that's my why. I found myself getting away from that, and I had to go back there several times. So stay in purpose. Remember those boundaries, and just that fast, I forgot the other one.
I absolutely love it. And then have your power team. So
power team, thank you.
Your power team. I love every one of those. And I always say you can't like Google your way to a business, guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I have so many people who want to build a business off of Google. And I think it's really important. Stay off Google. Go ahead. It's within yourself. Go back in. It's in your gut. Pull it out. And sometimes you need to go back to your gut as a reminder, like you did many, many times. So, and Letitia says good stuff. And we have Janelle who has said hello tonight. So welcome to both of you. And I have to say that, I love the fact that you said to surround yourself with a team, because it's very isolating. And it's so funny. Haven't you seen so many people who try and talk with people who are not entrepreneurs and they don't understand, and then you get upset? They don't understand what I'm doing. How could they? Don't know what they don't know. So you've got to have a community. Surround yourself with a community of entrepreneurs. They understand your journey. They're walking through it with you. So share some successes with me. I want you to talk me through a success you've had, and how did you get there?
Okay, so I'm going to share the most recent success that it's funny because I shared with my ladies. I was like, I can't even talk about this because I serve women, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So a few years ago, I hired a VA, and my VA, it was a male. He was with me. He helped me, with my graphics and images, and joined all my live streams, and helped me, with comments and questions. Like, he was great, 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 great. So he and I, we worked together for maybe about 2 years, and we still check in with each other every so often. And I knew that he did a Zoom and invited people who wanted to learn how to be a VA, and it was successful. I knew he said it was successful, and but he reached out to me and he said, "Remember that Zoom I did? Well, there was 98 people on that Zoom who said they wanted to be a VA." I said, "What?" And he said, "And 46 of them decided that I would be the one to teach them how to do it." And so then he began to say, "Thank you so much for how you've shown up online teaching people how to build a business, because I went from being your VA, working for somebody else, to now starting my own business." I was like, "Oh my goodness." And I was very, 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 very excited, and encouraged, because I'm like, "See, it works." So that was a major success. Another major success, I must say, is even though this year has been quite busy for our family business wise, this year has been a great success. We've had some challenges in our family, with illness, out of town relatives, and I call it a success that we've been able to support ourselves financially enough where we can take the time away to go and attend to our family who was ill out of state,
Wow.
um, to take vacations with our children, and do other things that align spiritually in my life. It's not, my successes are not reduced to just what happens in the business. I'm a lifestyle management coach, so everything is integrated. And I think those are some of the most recent and some of the biggest successes that I've had to date.
What you said is incredibly important because I think sometimes as business people, we check off our successes by the next best client we have and how much money that proposal brought in, how much that coaching session brought in, how many products I just sold and how big that order was. And so I think that's all important because we do have to bring in revenue. But I think sometimes we need to take a step back too. And sometimes it's the little wins. And I just recently had a client who was not very adept at digital marketing, and she put her first ebook together. That was a huge win of learning. And now she's building an email list, and just unbelievable how many subscribers she has. Sometimes we have to look at things like that will maybe drive revenue later. But at the same time, I'm looking at this. You're talking about life balance. And entrepreneurship is so much more than just revenue. You're talking about family time. Let's talk about freedom. Isn't that, to be able to take care of family who's sick, to go on vacations.
Yeah.
I talked to you about how I packed up everything and I'm living in a bungalow on the ocean right now. Entrepreneurship has given me that luxury. Right. So this is why we do what we do. And I think that's really important, that sometimes we need to have a mindset shift that, yes, we do need to pay our bills. Right. So I think that's really important. I want to I need to mention this because I have not had an entrepreneur on the show who has 10 kids. And I learned that like just as we're going live, and I'm like, all right, let's regroup for a minute, because a lot of people will go into entrepreneurship to have that work life balance, especially with a family, and that is a huge part of it, especially as mom. But how in the world, even with a couple kids in a business, it's hard. With 10 kids, you must be the most amazing, organized, time management. Like, How do you run a business? Like how many hours a day? And you must be the most productive person during those hours. Explain to me how you manage this and how this can help other people manage their business.
Well, first of all, I cannot do it without prayer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the first and foremost. But I do try to keep a schedule where I'm pretty productive during the day. My husband and I are both entrepreneurs, so we're both home during the day while the children are away at school. And we only have two in the house. Our all of our other children are all out of the house. Believe it or not, they're all older.
Okay.
We've got grandchildren, even yeah, married, all the things. So. Um, I keep business hours, if you will. After I drop them off, I'll work and I'll work until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then generally everything is about my family. You are a wonderful exception right now because I typically it's all family time in the evenings.
Mhm. I feel really honored. Thank you. You gave me 5 o'clock during dinner. I'm
Yes,
probably like,
yes.
oh my gosh, she's at 5 o'clock. Do I even want to sign up for this?
No, it's
Thank
okay.
you.
So they're older, like the little ones are older now a little bit. So we were able to make some adjustments. Not a problem at all. But yeah, I keep business hours and I try to set up systems so that we just, things just go and go and schedules and clear communication. Again, being an entrepreneur, sometimes things can happen spur of the moment. And the ladies that are part of my community, they know I have to, on occasion, I might have to cancel a community gathering that we have because something else has happened, and that's okay. That's part of that freedom and that flexibility. But yeah, we have a standing menu. Like, we're not super creative with dinner right now. With certain days, we eat certain things, and it works for our family. I try to spend time with my husband on a Monday or a Friday. Like we try to sneak in day dates. But yeah, I try to systematize the whole process. It doesn't always flow exactly as I want for it to, if I can be transparent, but it always goes exactly how it's supposed to because a lot comes out of it. Interesting opportunities, meeting new people, experiences that we wouldn't have had we not, gone with the flow a little bit. So, yeah, I run I don't know if I would call it a tight ship. Some people might call it, the kids would call it a tight ship. But yeah, it runs pretty smoothly. We've been doing this for a minute. So yeah, it runs pretty smoothly over here.
I always say life is messy, entrepreneurship is even messier, and then you combine the two, and you've got to have some flexibility in there. I I have to say so. There are a lot of coaches out there, a lot of consultants, a lot of agencies. Just curious, are there any marketing platforms out there that you're finding, to be, pretty successful for you? Good conversion opportunities that you may recommend out there for some of the others?
LinkedIn. You
Yeah,
want to stay connected on LinkedIn. Um, I feel that that's great for all of the above. The
yeah.
one thing about LinkedIn, and I share this often with people that ask me about my experience on that platform. Um, I share with them that the people on LinkedIn, they are very serious about their business, whatever their business is. For some, their business is working a 9 to 5, but they're serious about it. They're serious about leveling up. And so I choose to be in places where I notice other people are very intentional about their show up. And I serve and yeah, with things, conversions, sales, all the things, meeting new people, networking, all of that. Then the other one that I'm finding to be very interesting, and I'm new to this, is YouTube and creating content that can be evergreen. Maybe it's not, but it's what's needed now, and just the new people that are following and connecting. And so I might see them on YouTube, and then I might see them come on over to LinkedIn, and they might end up following me on Instagram. So I know I don't, whenever time this other people see this, because I know people might catch this on the replay. I know Meta's going through some things, some changes, but one thing that has been pretty consistent for me has been LinkedIn since I've been on it for a few years, and now this YouTube is starting to snowball. So
I absolutely love LinkedIn. It is my absolute favorite platform, but it definitely depends on who your business is, who your target audience is, and but I definitely feel like LinkedIn is an amazing platform. And I do know that you wanted people to follow you on your YouTube station, your YouTube channel, right?
yes. So I'm actually on YouTube as Just Kellee. JustKellee. And so I happen to be a coach who is in the faith space. So you can find me over there doing corporate prayers. And as of late, I've been doing a series, Hustle to Harmony, taking people from the hustle to a lifestyle of harmony for them, mainly geared towards a Christian faith-based entrepreneur, but the principles are the principles. And so, yeah, come on over to YouTube and give me a follow and check me out.
Awesome. So, Kellee, can you share who your ideal person who you serve? So, if somebody would like to get in touch with you, who is the ideal person?
Oh, thank you for that. So, if somebody wants to get in touch with me, they are somebody who is ready to go to the next level. They're a person of faith. They may be a mother. They may be a wife, or they may be single. But they are somebody that's saying, things are okay. Maybe they can be, they're okay. Maybe they can be a little bit better, but I'm ready to go, dig deep, learn, explore, grow, and take my life to the next level. Not just business, not just marriage, not just motherhood, but take my life to the next level. I want to be impactful. I want to be effective. And I want to use my influence so that others are able to get to that place that they are supposed to go as well. That's my ideal plan.
Is there a way that they can get a hold of you? Do you have an email or a website you'd like to share?
Well, actually, what I would love to do, I hang out on LinkedIn. So I would
Okay.
invite your audience, if they want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just say that they view the live stream and connect with me. My name is Just Kellee, also on LinkedIn, or they can look me up by my name, which is Kellee C. Williams.
Awesome. So I was wondering if you would leave our audience with a favorite quote of inspiration that you like, that maybe you follow, or that if things aren't going well, that you think about. Is there something that hits you, that maybe even of prayer?
Yeah, so I have a default scripture. I just absolutely love the scripture that says, "With all things, with God, all things are possible." And so when things get tough, with God, it's all possible. When things are going well and you want to celebrate, guess what? With God, things are possible. So that's my favorite scripture. As my default, I go to it all the time.
I love it. I love it. So this is about Rockstar entrepreneurs, and there are amazing things said about you on LinkedIn. I'm getting amazing stuff here in the chat. People are saying community is key. Yes, community is so important. Coach Kellee Williams, community is amazing. They put your YouTube channel in there. Follow Coach Kellee. This is Letitia Tate. Is she one of your clients? I have a
She, her and I,
wondering.
well, her and I have
She loves you. She's a follower.
she is a sister colleague is what I would rather call her. Yes, some of them we work together, but more than anything, we're just like sister colleagues. So yeah, thank
Awesome.
you, Coach Betty.
Awesome. And she loves that scripture too. We have Mimi who has tuned in, and she says hello. And so we've had some great people who have been here tonight and communicating. So thank you so much for being here. And I have to say, Kellee, thank you so much. We're just about wrapping up, and I want to want to say so much that I appreciate you kind of moving dinner to a little bit later tonight and showing up. And I'm so glad that I reached out to you and saw all the amazing content you were putting out there. And I hope everybody reaches out to Kellee. We absolutely have had a wonderful conversation. So thanks for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Everybody, we are wrapping up. For those of you who are entrepreneurs walking this journey, I hope you found some words of wisdom from Kellee tonight. I know that I certainly have. And I really encourage you that if you need a community, if you need mentorship and coaching, please seek it out. Entrepreneurship is very hard. Find your people. Find your people. All right. And if you need anything from me, just reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. You can go to 8simplesteps.net. Go ahead. Let's chat. If you're finding yourself really having trouble converting customers, you most likely don't have a marketing problem. You're probably having a messaging issue. So let's talk. All right, everybody. I will see you next month with another Rockstar. And I have to say, I get a lot of questions. Why do I only have female entrepreneurs on here? Okay, we're going to have a gentleman next month. So get ready. It's not just a female show, but I'm loving my lady entrepreneurs. They're amazing. So thank you so much, Kellee. And I will see everybody next month.